We know now in recovery post-exercise that ice slows down the lymphatic drainage for our athletes. Ask the athletes what works. Because when an athlete gets Marc Pro and they come back the next day and tell my baseball trainer how good my arm feels, I could go out and throw another 100 pitches today, and they ask for the machine, then you know it works.
In grad school, I decided I didn't want to continue to ice every single pitcher that came out. Hit a lot of resistance along the way coming up until I came to Villanova and introduced doing an active recovery. I don't lock in that swelling that is there. I want the swelling to come, but I want to get the swelling back out so it can do its natural process that it's intended for the body. At this point, none of my athletes ask for ice when they come out of a game.
As the leader of the athletic training room at my school, it's my job to educate the athletes, it's my job to educate the coaches, it's my job to educate the parents, and it's my job to educate my athletic trainers that work with me. And so every day I am educating them about the benefits of using the Marc Pro as a recovery tool.
Getting an athlete to buy into the treatment of an active recovery instead of just icing is difficult sometimes. Their ankles, their knee, their shoulders, their back, you name it, they'll ice it. I just emphasize that blood is good. Blood has oxygen, it has nutrients that is needed for muscle recovery. Once I kind of educate them on that and try to put things in perspective a little bit for them, their attitudes start to change a bit. At the end of the day, they're seeing results.
Putting the ice bag and putting a wrap on it's like putting a tourniquet. It's not letting things flow, it's just making it sit there. We can use a Marc Pro, we can use this system in order to actually get some fluid movement and get you past the soreness so you don't have that soreness the next day. That's the whole goal.
Every year you gotta get better at what you do. You gotta question what you do. And once we started questioning, why are we doing this? We saw great results. We've been 4 of the last 5 NCAA tournaments and we don't ice a bit.
If you look at it and you start reading and doing some of your own research, what makes sense is movement. That's how muscles heal. That's how tissue heals. You need that blood flow. You need that lymphatic flow. And you need to do things that facilitate that.
After workouts, after competition, our teams are using the Marc Pros after they compete, before they compete, because it helps us to remove some of the exudate that sits there.
I have them on my sidelines during my games. I had an injury. I hooked my athlete up to a Marc Pro right there, right after the sprained ankle. We know that's what's going to work, and it really helps my athletes get back to competition faster.
At this point, I believe we have 22 units. If we're on a bus, they're slapping it on after a game, 45 minutes, and the next day we have no soreness, we have no fatigue, they're ready to play.
I use the Marc Pro units with my baseball players, my basketball players, my track athletes. They love it too after a hard practice. The Marc Pro seems to help them recover better than anything they've ever used before.
A lot of times we play late games and we get back to the hotel late, so I can hand out a couple of units to have the players do their recovery therapy with the unit that night. They keep it through the night. They can wear it through the night. They can wear it as long as they want. And that helps get the circulation going to help them recover for the next day.
Those who've used it have certainly come back feeling a sense of refreshment, maybe a little bit revitalized, and overall just happy for the empowerment that we've been able to provide them with taking these units home. We're able to provide half hour, 45 minutes, 60 minutes of treatment that they otherwise may not have done.
Don't just follow blindly. I had to do a lot of homework on my own to come to the conclusion that I have as far as I no longer ice.
Ours is evidence-based research. Just because an athlete wants to throw a bag of ice on does not mean it's correct. The toughest part is educating the coaches, because that's what they dealt with in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s when they played. Oh, when I went to this school, I hopped in the cold bath every day. Yeah, and look at your body now when you're 50 years old. Don't you wish you had done what we're doing now for the athletes? You wouldn't be walking around with the limp and the bad hip and the arthritic conditions.
Knowing what I know and seeing the results that we get, there's no way that I'd ever go back to doing ice again. Just can't. Our athletes feel good. They play well, and it's definitely got a lot to do with what we're doing as far as leaving ice in the cooler.